This video was brought to you by my loyal patrons. Pledge today and receive exclusive perks. Link in the description.
I've talked about so many Thomas merchandise lines on my channel over the years. Model trains, Ertl, Tomica, Playrail, Capsule Playrail, and some others. But there is one major name missing from that lineup. So before we made our big move to the East Coast, my parents stopped by our house and gave something to me. This toy chest from my childhood. And inside it, a literal treasure trove. These were all my wooden Thomas toys I collected over the years, and I keep them all in this toy chest. It was pretty surreal seeing it all again after what was at least a decade in storage. And this is just the tracks and buildings. I keep all my engines in a separate box. Like most Thomas fans, I have a history with Thomas Wooden Railway. And since my nostalgia goggles have been fully put back on recently, I think now is a good time as any to talk about this special toy line that so many of us love dearly. And dig everything out again for the first time in years for a collection video. Join me on this journey through time. As a kid of the 90s, there were three major Thomas toy lines that I went between. The collectible die-cast line of Ertl, the motorized plastic toy line of Tomy Playrail, which was always my personal favorite, and probably the most famous of the three, Thomas Wooden Railway by Learning Curve. Wooden Railway was the elite of the three brands, and the one most entangled with the Thomas brand. I think when people thought Thomas toys back then, the mental image that they'd picture in their head, by default, was a wooden Thomas. It was definitely the most expensive of the big three toy lines, and was only found at certain luxury toy stores like Imaginarium or Zany Brainy. Any of you watching remember those names? It was only in the 2000s when the big department stores like Toys R Us started selling it, and even places like Target for a brief time. Now my preference was always Tomy Playrail, I think because the engines were designed to be freewheeling or run on their own, and they had moving side rods. But I loved Wooden Railway too. This was the toy line that every kid of the 90s had. Everyone had a wooden Thomas set or characters of some sort in their household. I did, my cousin did, friends from school did. It was just a staple of childhood then. Nothing beats the charm of a simple wooden train that you push around on wooden tracks. The 90s era of Thomas Wooden Railway is what I think most people call the classic era, or the golden era. Designs were simplistic. The engines didn't have much detail, no boiler lining or anything. Some were lacking the proper number of wheels, and the functionality of each destination was fairly rudimentary. But that was the charm of it. Nothing was flashy or begging for your attention. All the destinations they did put out were all railway related, like a mountain tunnel or a cargo crane. They were simple toys designed for your imagination to take over. This was the era that I grew up with, or mostly at least. There was some overlap into the 2000s. I do still have a couple 90s engines from my young childhood, but a lot of them are long gone now. And a lot of what I have currently are replacements I got later on. As the mid-2000s rolled in, Wooden Railway saw a big upgrade. Most of the characters saw design makeovers, bigger faces, more detail, and many, many fun variants. Sets became a lot more numerous, and they started pumping out old characters that they had skipped over in the past, like George and Bulgy. Thomas, as a brand, was at its heightened popularity during this time. So they could literally make a set or destination based on anything from the show, and it'd sell gangbusters. Hence stuff like the frickin' gantry crane from the Flying Kipper, or the Edward the Great set, a set based on a fairly mid-episode, yet it was made up entirely of exclusive versions of the characters and rolling stock in it. They really didn't have to go this hard for this. Easily my white whale. This was around the time I was starting to get too old for Thomas, at least in my parents' eyes, so they stopped buying me Wooden Railway. And I don't blame them. The prices for some of these things were pretty crazy, even back then. I was also at that weird age where I was still a kid, but not old enough to work yet, so I didn't have the money to buy these expensive toys for myself. So during what was possibly Wooden Railway's most explosive era, I sat on the sidelines and just watched it all go by me. I'd grab a free yearbook from Toys R Us or wherever, and just skim the pages, ogling all the fun toys that I'd probably never own. No Edward the Great set for me. I did manage to get a couple items from this era of the line over the years, but it is this mid-2000s era that is the most elusive to me personally. There's so many items here that I've never actually held or even seen in person before. Like, I don't think I've ever actually seen a Big City engine in the flesh, ever. This is the era of stuff that I would love to start seeking out now. Learning Curve was bought out in 2011. Tomy took over producing Wooden Railway for a brief 2-year stint, until Mattel took it over. Mattel bought Hit Entertainment in its entirety the same year, and they took over production of the Wooden Railway line fully in 2013. The line saw its second major overhaul, and man did Mattel relaunch the line swinging hard. Every character had a new CGI-styled face that looked exactly like the ones you saw on TV. They were perfect. There were so many multi-packs based on episodes with fun character variants, and they even put out a number of special exclusive characters, like Flying Scotsman. Holy crap! They really pushed this as the Thomas toy line at the time, even setting up a designated website where you could browse the catalog and order special items. Do you all remember this? Wooden Railway had its own website for a couple of years, where you could get customized engines with your name on them, or those luxury story collection sets that featured characters exclusive to the toy line. These couple of years were pretty awesome. By this time, I had a job and my own grown-up adult money, so I was more than happy to engage with the hype and throw money at these things. I grabbed a good number of them. Fun fact, I had that 2013 Flying Scotsman, new in the box. I never opened it. And my dumb, stupid ass sold it on eBay because I wanted money. I see how much it goes for now, and I still regret that decision every day of my life.
What was I thinking?
But alas, all good things come to an end. As was the case with pretty much every Thomas toy line produced under Mattel, they started cheapening out. Around 2015-16 or so was when the decline really became noticeable. Faces became smaller, the wood they used started to feel lighter and cheaper, and big characters were noticeably shorter in length. The biggest sign of the decline was when they started reusing existing toolings for new characters. Like, come on, this is just awful. If they had to reuse an existing tooling for Ryan, why did they choose Thomas when Whiff was right there? See, isn't that much better? It was around this time that I started dipping out. I could see the writing on the wall. Mattel's next cost-cutting scheme was to relaunch Wooden Railway again in 2018, only 5 years after they had previously relaunched it, under a new name called Thomas Wood. I can hear you all collectively rolling your eyes now. I don't even have to tell you why this was a colossal mistake. It was just depressing, honestly, to see this beloved 25-year-old toy line fall to such a low. At this point, I was fully tapped out, and clearly the general market was too. Thomas Wood sold terribly, so terribly that Mattel tried to salvage it by redesigning the whole line again to be fully painted the very next year. But it was a pointless venture. They lost so much money on this embarrassing endeavor, and it was all their own doing. They could have just not done it to begin with. Thomas Wooden Railway was dead, and Mattel held the smoking gun. There was a brief attempt at a revival in 2022, where they produced a legacy line of wooden trains and special collector-style boxes. They were very different to what came before, but definitely an upgrade from Thomas Wood. They were nice for what they were. It was nice to see decent wooden trains on the shelves again, but they were too expensive, and they didn't make much of an impact. In 2025, Thomas Wooden Railway was officially declared canceled, and is now gone. As of 2026, there is no Wooden Thomas line being produced. Everything is finite now. And boy, oh boy, are the prices on the secondhand market skyrocketing. With my interest in Wooden Thomas starting to peak again, I did manage to snag a couple items that I've always wanted on eBay from that middle 2000s era that I didn't get much from. So now that you know my story, why don't I take you through what I have? We will break the collection up into 6 categories: steam engines, diesel and electric, narrow gauge, rolling stock, non-rail vehicles, and new in-box items. Let's start with the standard gauge steamies. We have a plethora of Thomases to get through. I was surprised with how many I have. First one here is one of my childhood Thomases, I remember I had 2 regular Thomases when I was little. The other one is long gone now, but this one somehow survived. And it's not in bad shape either. The dates on the wheels say this is from 1998, and this is the version with the wooden smoke box and nub style funnel. Here's 4 of the same 2001 Thomas. This is the old Thomas with the updated plastic smoke box and accurate funnel. I have no idea how I acquired this many.
You may notice one of these Thomases has an NG written on the back of it. Those are my initials, and you'll see that on a few items here. When we were kids, that's how my cousin and I would differentiate which trains belonged to who. I could probably remove it now with rubbing alcohol or something, but I never really cared enough to bother.
Here's a fun one. Tired Thomas. Since this is dated 2001 and has a plastic funnel, I assume this is from that 5-car value pack that they did back then. I remember getting this at a day out with Thomas in Sacramento, though I've lost some of the rolling stock in it. I managed to save the Thomas though. Here's 2 normal 2002 Thomases, right when the line redesigned everything. These are the earlier variants without the red striping on the boiler. And here's a Thomas from 2003 with the added boiler lining. I know Wooden's whole aesthetic was simplistic design, but I can't lie, I like the added detail. Here's what's called the Winter Wonderland Thomas, complete with the 3-pack he came in. This features a snowy Thomas with a snowplow attached to his front, along with a cargo car and a wintry caboose, though I am missing the present cargo that goes in the cargo car. Ah, here's a fun one. Thomas and the Jet Engine, featuring Thomas with a surprised expression. I love me those face variants. The Jet Engine is metal and battery powered. It doesn't look much like the Jet Engine as seen in the show, but I still like it. I love that shiny chrome finish. Here is what's called Seabound Thomas, a normal Thomas with, I guess, a sad face? It's the face from the Thomas Comes to Breakfast Thomas, complete with eggs still present on his face, albeit not painted. This is based on Misty Island Rescue, specifically the scene where he gets lost at sea on a barge. The pack this is from came with a special barge piece, but I don't think I've ever owned it. I don't really know how I came to own this, to be honest. Moving into the Fisher-Price stuff now, when everything got overhauled again to reflect the CGI series. I have 2 normal 2013 Thomases. The face looks great on these. Here's the 3 Thomases from the 2013 Adventures of Thomas pack. A snowplow Thomas with a determined face, and finally an accurate blue snowplow. A paint-splattered Thomas with a shocked face based on Calling All Engines, and a fish-covered Thomas with a sad face, presumably based on Season 8's Fish. I really like this pack, and I'd love to seek out the original version someday to get those variants too. Here's Thomas the Red-Nosed Engine, based on the Season 17 episode, Santa's Little Engine. I forgot I had this, and I don't remember how I got it. This came in a 2-pack with a sleigh car, but I don't own the sleigh car, so I must have got this in a lot or something. It's a fun variant, I like it. And the last Thomas is one of my most recent additions, the 70th Anniversary 1942 Thomas. A Thomas based on the original Thomas toy that Wilbur Awdry made for his son Christopher. I still can't believe that they made this. What a great anniversary item. This came in a 2-pack with a horrendous looking gold Thomas. Gold being in quotation marks. I don't remember ever seeing this in stores back then, so I never got it. I just found this 1942 Thomas at a thrift store in Pennsylvania, believe it or not. So of course I had to bring him home with me. What an amazing find. Alright, finally moving on to another character, and another recent addition. The elusive Tired Edward variant from my White Whale, the 2006 Edward the Great set. I want everything in that set, and the Edward is the first I've managed to seek out on eBay for a decent price. The face is perfect. It's crazy how accurate the face variants are when they do special expressions like this. Here's hoping I can find the rest of the set exclusives without breaking the bank. Here's a 2013 Edward with a perfect CGI face. These are the only 2 Edwards I own. I never got a normal 2002 Edward, and my childhood Edward is now long gone. Here are 2 2002 Henrys. I don't know how I came into owning 2 of them, but hey, I'm not complaining. I really like the 2002 Henry, though I wish the face was more accurate. And the 2013 Henry fixes that issue. Much better face here. Same as Edward, my childhood Henry is long gone now. Here's a 2002 Gordon.
I feel the same about him as I do Henry. I like the 2002 updates, I just wish the face was better. This doesn't really look like Gordon to me. And here's a 2013 Gordon to fix that. As much as I like the 2013 versions, I don't like how the big engines have plastic bogies. They just feel a little cheaper, and they're a bit lighter too. But at least they look good. Here's a 2001 James. Not much to say about him. And here's a 2002 James, a special variant with a gold dome. I remember I got this with the Best of James VHS from this year, and it must have been at the tail end right before the line's big redesign. You all tell me in the comments, is this variant of James rare? I wouldn't know. Love this one. James Goes Buzz Buzz from a limited edition pack designed to recreate the episode's famous scene. I really love the idea of these packs, though this is the only one of them that I ever got. I'm pretty sure the display piece is long gone now, but I still have the James. Love the face on this guy. Here's a normal 2013 James with a CGI face. Like Edward, I never got a normal 2002 James. Okay, this is such a funny one. Back in 2014 or so, Wooden Railway started making special sets based on books, which were included with the set. They were called the Sodor Story Collection, and I actually managed to get one of them. The set I got was James Sorts It Out, and I picked it because I thought it had the best destinations in it. The best version of the Steamworks, a new version of Colin, who I didn't have at the time, a barrel loader, and of course, this James with a crate that you can place on top of him. This is supposed to recreate a scene from the book where Colin accidentally drops a crate on him. And the last James of the lot, Origins James, or Introducing James as it says on the box. It's James in his original black livery from The Adventure Begins. I'm really glad that they made this, but it's all the more strange that they made this and not Thomas in his original green livery from the same movie. What an iconic variant to just pass on. What were they thinking? Moving on to Percy now. Here are two 2001 Percys. There was something about this version I just didn't like as a kid. I think it was the lack of boiler stripes. It made him look too simple, I think. I completely ruined my childhood Percy by trying to paint boiler stripes on him with Crayola paint or something. I remember that it looked such a mess and I instantly regretted doing it. Here's a 2002 Percy, which I like a lot more. Just giving him boiler stripes goes a long way. And here's a 2013 Percy with a CGI face. The face is pretty accurate, but something about it looks weird. He looks really chubby or something. I think Fisher-Price redid Percy at some point with another face that looks a lot better. I may try to seek that out eventually. And here's a special one. Silver Percy from the 60th anniversary. Pretty sure I got this with the Songs from the Station DVD. I believe those were packed together. Moving on to Toby now. Here's a 2001 Toby. Pretty basic, but gets the job done. Here's a 2002 Toby that is a little brighter. They didn't really do much when redesigning him, did they? I remember being disappointed as a kid that his face stayed the same, while everyone else's were updated. And here's a 2013 Toby with a CGI face. I think this is my favorite version of Toby, purely because he has a funnel now. All the previous versions of him didn't for some reason. No wonder so many kids thought Toby was a boxcar. Here's an old style duck, dated 2001. I'm pretty sure I got this duck from the Sodor Airfield set, which I think came out that year. I know that's how I got Tiger Moth, who you'll see later. What a bizarre set. Why Duck of all characters in this? When did Duck ever interact with Tiger Moth, or go to the airfield? And without a doubt, the best version of Duck, the 2014 Fisher-Price one. This was a day one purchase for me when this came out. I cannot believe Learning Curve never bothered to update Duck. This was such an improvement to the old version. He actually has a funnel now. He looks so much better. Here's Douglas, without Donald. So you know what's funny? I had Donald as a kid, and not Douglas. Then when I got older, I bought myself a Douglas. But by that point, I had somehow lost my Donald. I don't think I've ever owned both at the same time. I'm not really a fan of the wooden Donald and Douglas. I hate how far back their funnels are, so I'm not really in a rush to get a matching set. Same as Duck, I just can't believe Learning Curve never updated these two. Here's a 2001 Oliver. It always bothered me as a kid that Oliver had black wheels and not green ones like in the show. I guess he does match Duck better this way. Here are two 2014 Olivers.
Well, I guess one is 2015, since one is from the Oliver and Oliver 2-pack. The other one came with a dinosaur car or something. I really like this version of Oliver. I used to own a 2006 Oliver, and I thought I still had it, but I couldn't find it when digging through all my stuff, so I guess it's lost now. What a darn shame. Speaking of items that I thought I still had, here's Stepney, and this is a special one, because it's the one from my childhood, dated 1998, and with the old style nub funnel. Still in pretty good condition too. Now I also know for a fact that I had the 2003 Stepney with the bigger face, but like Oliver, I can't find it, so I guess it's just lost too. Gosh darn it. Here's an old style Ben, dated 2003. Like Percy, I never really liked the old style Bill and Ben. I think they were just too simplistic for me. But these, however, are much better. The 2005 Bill and Ben 2-pack, with updated details and faces. I find it really funny that they still gave them the old style nub funnels here. They were long past doing that by this point. Here is Neil. Kinda crazy that learning curve made him. This was during that middle era between seasons where they didn't have new characters to make, so learning curve just started dipping into the Railway series books. A fun, simple little item. Here is Flying Scotsman, dated 2001. I loved this guy. Anytime I built a layout, Scotsman was always on it somewhere. The original version is pretty nice, but I wish I still had the 2013 version with the bigger face and the updated details. I will never forgive myself for selling that. Here is Lady, dated 2000. Pretty sure I got this in the special Magic Railroad packaging when the movie first came out. And here's a redesigned Lady from 2003. A simple upgrade, but a good one. The painted face goes a long way. Here is Harvey, the crane engine. Harvey was always an odd one to me. His face isn't really that accurate, and I always wonder why they made him this dark brown when he's more of a crimson red in the show. It all made sense once I saw the original concept art of Harvey. Learning Curve must have used this for reference when designing him. Here's a 2004 Emily. I remember that I got her, Spencer, and Murdoch all on the same day, not long after New Friends for Thomas came out on DVD. That was such a good day. What a grand haul. Her face sucks, though. It looks nothing like Emily. Here's a 2013 Emily, and what a great upgrade. Much better face, and a little splash of red on her front really makes a world of difference. Here's Fergus. He's a fun one. I always thought it was neat how crane magnets could connect to that piece next to his flywheel, so cranes could properly load him onto boats or flatbeds or whatever. Not intentional at all, I'm sure, but still fun. Here is Arthur, who I'm pretty sure the entire fandom agrees is one of the best wooden railway toys out there. And yeah, he is pretty great. Accurate face, great shaping. They really didn't skimp out on anything here. Everyone loves a big tank engine. Here's Murdoch, another goated one. His face is a little strange looking, but I don't mind it. I love how big he seems with that thicker boiler piece. Here's Spencer. And God, I love the face that they chose for him. They could have used the laughing face that all the other toy lines used, but instead, they used this smug one. I love it. One day, I will own Spencer with the surprise face from the Edward the Great set. One day, Spencer. One day. Here is Molly, another pretty nice one. I love that they made her drive wheels larger to differentiate them from her bogies. Molly was one of the last wooden trains I got before I started becoming too old for Thomas in my parents' eyes. So from this point onward, you're going to start seeing a lot of large gaps in the collection. So we're jumping all the way to Whiff now, and this is the 2014 version from Fisher-Price. I don't know why I bought this. Probably because I didn't own a Whiff at the time. But I really don't like how he was designed. Why did they choose a long body with double bogies for him? Whiff is a small tank engine, he shouldn't be this long. I think it would have been cool if they did the Emily thing and gave him an 060 chassis with a larger center wheel. I wonder if anyone's ever made a custom like that. Next up is Hero, 2013 by Fisher-Price. Another engine that I did not have at the time, but always wanted. The 2013 version is pretty good, but I'd still love to seek out a 2009 one. An awesome variant that I forgot I had, Hero's Sticky Spill, a 3-pack based on the season 17 episode No More Mr. Nice engine. This features Hero covered in milk splatters and with a sad expression. I love face variants. And an exclusive plastic truck with a milk barrel. This is the only time I think they've ever done a truck like this. I always wish they'd do a regular release of it with stone cargo or crates or something. Here is a 2013 Charlie. Yep, sure is Charlie. But here's the Charlie worth talking about. So this is the Charlie from the book pack that goes with the James Sorts It Out set. It features Charlie with a billboard stuck on him and a special movie studios car. So in that book, a storm comes through and blows a superhero movie billboard onto Charlie, with his face poking through it. It's a funny little pack. I like it. I wish they did more stuff like this. Oh my gosh, why do I own these? Here are Bash and Dash, both from 2013. I do not own Ferdinand, but for some reason, I own these two. I do like how Wooden Railway designed these guys, with the working winches on their rears. The logging locos sucked as characters, but at least their toys were fun. Here's a fun variant of Steven called Steven Comes to Sodor. It's Steven in his unrestored state prior to arriving on Sodor in King of the Railway. I really like how they designed this, with that middle bogey wheel missing and his funnel leaning to one side. This is bizarrely the only version of Steven that I own in Wooden Railway form. I never got a normal version. I will have to fix that. Here is Porter. A pretty simple but effective design. Here's Timothy, one that I really like. I love how they designed his side plates to properly cover his wheels. He looks like a proper tram engine. And here's Marion. Pretty good design overall, but it bugs me how her bucket is attached to her arm. I feel like it should be attached to the back of it, not the bottom. The way it is makes it look like she has a big snowplow on her front, rather than a bucket. Here's Ashima, one that I'm not a fan of. She has the same problem that Ryan has, where they opted to make her an 060, so her design was squashed to fit the chassis. I would have preferred if they did something akin to Belle or Arthur, and made her a bigger engine with bogey wheels. Here is Vinny, and man does he suck. I mean, he's not awful, but look how short his body is compared to his chassis. This was when Wooden Railway was really starting to cut corners and bring costs down. Not to mention they didn't even attempt the handrails that go over his face. You know, the most unique aspect of this character's design. And here's Frida, and she sucks too. I'm sorry, I'm really not a fan of any of the Great Race ones. I think they all look kind of cheap. I always thought it weird they made Frida of all characters from the Great Race, and not like Young Bao or Rajiv or something. Two more Steamies, and they're both Sodor Story Collection exclusives. Here is Sam, the big articulated engine from America. I'm not a huge fan of his wooden toy, to be honest. I do love that it's longer, but he really should have had an 060 bogey under there, as well as the front 0401. Not to mention a longer Flying Scotsman style tender. He would have looked amazing with those mods. And the best of the Sodor Story trio, in my opinion, Dustin, the snowplow machine. His plow actually turns as he goes. A really clever design. I never managed to get Logan, but maybe one day I'll seek him out. Moving on to the diesels and electrics now, and there's not as many here. First up is a 2013 diesel with an abnormally happy expression. I did have a 2005 diesel, but I ended up chopping its face off to use on my 00 scale model of diesel instead. Maybe one day I'll seek out a replacement. Here's a bronze diesel, produced for the 60th anniversary. This came with the Callin' All Engines DVD, I'm pretty sure. I have bronze diesel, silver Percy, but no gold Thomas. One day, I'll complete the trio. Here's an old style Daisy, dated 2001. So simple in its design, yet so effective. And here's the updated Daisy from 2007, and they never made a new Daisy again. I really like the painted face on this one, and the blue windows. Here's the diesel with no name, yet goes by many. The Diesel, D261, Class 40, Andy, whatever you call them. I really love this one. Just the fact it's a normal British Railways diesel in Wooden Railway form. Here's a really fun one, the Ballast Spreader, or the Sodor Railway Repair, as Wooden Railway calls him. A character that appears in a single illustration of the books, was never referred to in the text, yet a toy exists of him. I love that they made this cryptid. Here is D199, the 2013 version. I never had the original D199 as a kid. Somehow I never ever saw that in a store anywhere. I do have the 2005 one, new in the box still, which I'll show you all later. I can't believe Fisher-Price made D199 in 2013. They really did relaunch the line swinging hard, didn't they? Here are two old-style Mavises. One is dated 1999 and the other 2003. Mavis is another one that I didn't really like that much as a kid. I thought she was way too plain looking. It's a crime that Learning Curve never bothered to update her either. Here's Diesel 10, the toy every kid and their brother owned. It's a pretty fun toy, but it has always bugged me that Learning Curve never updated him with a painted face. He was like their best seller. I mean, they updated Lady. Why not Diesel 10 as well to match? I'll still take this Diesel 10 over the weird happy one they did for Day of the Diesels. Why on earth is that the expression they chose for him? Here are Diesel 10's cronies, Splatter and Dodge. I am 99% sure the faces on my splodge are swapped, which I think was a common case with these back in the day. But I have no idea which one is supposed to have the shocked expression and vice versa. You all tell me. Here are two 2002 Salties. I remember Salty was a really common one back then. He came in a lot of sets and packs. And here's a 2013 Salty with a much improved CGI face. Here we have Dennis, who I managed to snag around the same time as Molly. A pretty good representation of Dennis, but, like, he is pretty boring. A gray box. Why would any kid want this over, like, Salty or something? Here's a rare white whale, the 2013 Paxton. I know this one is rare because he has the painted wheels. Fisher-Price produced characters like Paxton, Bell, and whoever else with painted wheels for a short time before leaving the wheels unpainted not long after. There was a very short window that this version of Paxton was on the shelves, and I somehow got it. I did have a Paxton with unpainted wheels too, but I chopped its face off for my 00 scale model of Paxton. I had no qualms with defacing that one. Here's Winston the inspection car. He's not really a diesel, but he's not a road vehicle either, so I put him in this section. Sue me. Here is Stafford, another neat one. I always wondered why Stafford was greenlit as a character, because I can't imagine any kid wanting him over others. But I kinda wonder if he sold decently because he kinda looks like a caboose. Like, to a layman, this could be a caboose. It's about the same shape, right? And the last diesel here, Philip. Philip's design really lent itself well to Wooden Railway. I love his rounded rear end. Alright, now let's go smaller and talk narrow gauge. Surprisingly a lot in this section. A lot of variants that I didn't know I had. First up is a Skarloey from 2003. Learning Curve redesigned every other narrow gauge engine at some point. Yet somehow they just skipped over Skarloey entirely. What'd they have against him? Here is one of my favorite Wooden Railway items ever. The 2012 Skarloey, released by Tomy during that middle 2-year period where they took over Wooden Railway before Mattel bought the brand. This is the Skarloey redesign I had always hoped for. I just love how much detail is present on this thing. Here's the 2013 Skarloey by Fisher-Price. Not a bad Skarloey, but a bit of a step down from Tomy's. Some notable detail is missing. Moving on to Rheneas now, who I have a zillion of for some reason. Here's a 2001 Rheneas, in his ever-infamous pink livery, which all the toys had for some reason during this time. Here's the 2004 redesigned Rheneas, one of the biggest misfits of the Wooden Railway range. There's so much weird about this guy. The pink livery for one, but also the strange white wheels, and the face, which isn't even his. It's Sir Handel's, which I think he incorrectly has on in some of the reference photos. Okay, this one is better. This is another recent addition that I managed to snag on eBay. The surprised Rheneas from the Rheneas and the Roller Coaster set. He's still the weird 2004 design, but at least his face is accurate now. The fact a toy of a surprised Rheneas exists is wild to me. So happy to finally own this. Here is the best Rheneas in my opinion, the 2012 one by Tomy. Finally, he's orange now. It only took them, what, 17 years? And here's the 2013 Rheneas. Same as Skarloey, he's a slight dip in quality, but still looks pretty good in my opinion. Oh good, another character. Here's the 2008 Sir Handel, specifically based on his large-scale prop from the hit era. I don't really like the large-scale prop Sir Handel faces. but I can't lie. The face here is very accurate. And here's the 2012 Sir Handel. And yeah, it's my favorite. I love that red buffer beam. Here's an old style Peter Sam, dated 2000, and he's definitely seen some better days. Here's the 2008 Peter Sam, based on the large scale prop. I really like the face on this one. And here's the 2012 Peter Sam, another goated design. The 2012 narrow gauge engines are probably my favorite items of the entire Wooden Railway range, to be honest. They just went so hard with them. And here's a 2012 Rusty. I used to own an original Rusty, but it's MIA right now. But I ain't complaining, I much prefer this one. Here's the 2013 Rusty to the Rescue 3-pack, the only release of Rusty made under Fisher-Price, and it's not that much different to the 2012 one. Fun fact, the Searchlight car does not light up anymore. Here's a 1999 Duncan. Like Peter Sam, he has seen better days. And here's a 2009 Duncan. A pretty good update, except for one thing. His whistle, or should I say, lack of a whistle. For some reason they placed a lamp there instead. What were they thinking? Here's a 2009 Duke, re-released to coincide with the Rusty to the Rescue DVD. A glorious upgrade. I am so happy that all the narrow gauge engines got updated at some point. Here is Smudger, also released in 2009 to coincide with that DVD. I'm still in disbelief that they even made him, and using the old Rheneas body too. Surprised they didn't use the new body. I love that he has a matte expression. That's awesome. Here's Ivohue, one that I never owned before and got online a couple years ago. I did not care at all for the zoo cars that he was released with, so I was happy to find him separate. Here's another rarity, the 2016 Bertram. I remember buying this from the shop at the California Railroad Museum in Sacramento. It was the only ever time that I saw this on a store shelf, and I'm so happy I bought it when I did, because apparently he is impossible to find online now. I'm also amazed that Fisher-Price even bothered to re-release Bertram. And with his tender finally. Was this like a last major hurrah or something before the line its pants the following year? Like, did they see the writing on the wall? Here's a 2013 Fearless Freddy. I never managed to get the original version. I think it was exclusive to a track pack or something. Here's a 2009 Victor, which I didn't realize I owned. I don't even remember buying this. Pretty weird face on this one. Here are two 2013 Victors, and they're each in a slightly different shade of red. One of them came from the James Sorts It Out set. Here is Millie, one of the two King of the Railway items that I actually bothered picking up. Here are two 2001 Coldies. I don't know how I got two, but I know one of them is from the Day at the Works set. More on that later. Coldie is a pretty weird item. His front face is so tiny and high up, and his rear face is, well, terrifying. I never got the 2005 Coldie from that multi-pack, but I did get the 2015 version by Fisher-Price. I love that they did Coldie again, and I really like this version. Dare I say, I think it's the best version of Coldie in Wooden Railway. Going a little smaller now, here's Mike, dated 2001. I always liked the wooden Mike, but it always bothered me that they never made Bert or Rex to go with him. Here's the 2015 Mike, based on his appearance in the CGI series. And you know what? I really like it. Yeah, he's squashed down to fit on an 040 chassis, but I think that was their way of visually showing that he's a miniature engine. I'm fine with it. And here's Bert, who I think was a Toys R Us exclusive. They were so close to greatness here. They did Mike and Bert, but not Rex. Ugh, we were so close. And lastly, here's Frank, who I always forget exists in this toy line. I remember seeing Frank on the toy shelves as a kid and wondering who the hell this guy was. We didn't get the Chris Audrey books in the States, so characters like him and Wilbert were just alien to me. I thought they were characters that appeared in an episode that I hadn't seen yet. Moving into the rolling stock now, of which I have a lot less than I thought I did. First up is the 2004 Annie and Clarabelle. The best versions of these two, in my opinion. The CGI ones they did later are nice too, but I like that they each have different expressions here. Here's the light-up reveal Annie and Clarabelle from 2016. I never really liked these gimmick lights and sound versions of the characters, but in Annie and Clarabelle where their windows light up and reveal silhouettes of people inside them was a really cool idea. So I made an exception with these. Here's the Knapford Express coach, dated 1997. There's like 20 variants of this stupid coach, and I could not tell you why, but I like this version the best. Here's two well-loved express coaches, dated 1998. These two are definitely from my childhood. I use these things all the time when putting trains together. Here's a few rarities. Ada, Jane, and Mabel. Again, just crazy that these exist in toy form. These Glup-Shido coach characters from the Railway series that appeared, what, once? They're pretty nice for what they are, and I love their facial expressions.
And here's a regular narrow gauge coach. Another recent addition to the collection. This was exclusive to the Rheneas and the roller coaster set with the surprised Rheneas. It's a simple paint job, but I really like this. I wish I had a couple more to make a full train. Here's Old Slow Coach, a really grand release. I found her in a 60th anniversary Henry at a toy shop in the mid-2010s, which you'll see more of later. Here is, well, what is supposed to be Catherine, but is actually the truck from Mountain Engines. I think someone messed up when looking at the illustrations and got the truck mixed up with Catherine. I'm glad that they made the truck over her. It has more playability since it has the ability to hold cargo. It's a really neat oddity from this era of the line. Here's a 2006 Toad, and man, oh man, I love this guy. They actually made this a working brake van. It has a posable brake that you can set to make his rear wheels stop turning. So innovative. Here's a 2002 Scruffy, and this came from that same Day at the Work set that Coldie came from. I love the face on this guy. Here's a 2006 Scruffy, and I love the face on this guy too. I love how every time Wooden Railway made a new Scruffy, he had a different facial expression. I also dig the orange wheels on this one. Here's Rickety, one of Wooden Railway's OCs. Like Frank and Wilbert, I thought Rickety was some character from a lost episode that I had never seen before. Here's the Sodor China clay cars, and both are well loved. Like the express coaches, I use these all the time, simply because they were normal rolling stock. Fun fact, did you know the numbers on each truck are references to the birthdays of Wooden Railway's designer, Roy Wilson, and his eldest son? Neat little Easter egg there. Here's a Sodor Mining Company coal car, which came with the Sodor coal station. Pretty sure that came with 2 cars, but I only have one now. Must have lost the other one ages ago. Here are 2 basic milk tankers. Yeah, not too much to say about these. And here's 2 basic fuel tankers. Yep, they sure are tankers. Here's the original breakdown train from 1997. I never liked this because I always got frustrated the flatbed couldn't actually hold engines on it. Imagine if the flatbed was designed with wheel grooves, so you could place a Thomas or something on it, kind of like Madge's trailer. Here's the ugly-ass Chinese Dragon from 1999. I hate this thing. It looks like a dog or something. It looks nothing like how it appeared in the show. I'd love to seek out the 2005 redesign someday. Here's a Wooden Railway classic, the Circus Train, and I somehow have all 5 animals still. I never ever used this when I made layouts, but I'm happy to have it. Here's the Gold Prospectors cars? What? What even are these? Why do I own these? Here's a barrel car with honey barrels, which I'm 100% sure came from the Honey Depot. I think I was gifted that for a birthday. It's not a destination that I ever really use much, but the honey barrels are neat. They have what looks like actual honey inside them. Another Wooden Railway classic, the Sodor Line Caboose. A very American item that does not fit on Sodor, but who cares? It's a little red caboose. Who wouldn't like this? Part of me wishes they had put Sodor Line on the side of Bruno as a sly little reference to this. Here's the Haunted Caboose, which came with the Thomas's Halloween Adventures DVD. And lastly, here's the Hand Car. It's a neat little item, but I don't think I ever used this when I made layouts. I mean, it's not really rolling stock, so what do you do with it? Just push it around? We're literally going off the rails now. Here's all my non-rail vehicles. Starting off, we have another special one, my childhood Birdie, which I somehow still have. I love this one. I much preferred when they actually depicted people in Birdie's windows like this. Here's a 2002 Birdie. He lost the people in his windows, but gained a rear magnet for some reason. What on earth is Birdie pulling exactly? And here's a 2013 Birdie with a CGI face. A pretty nice upgrade, but now he doesn't even have a driver anymore. He's been fully abandoned.
Here's an old-style Terrence, dated 2002. And he still has the treads, miraculously. They are in poor shape, though, and I'm kind of scared to touch them. They look like they might tear apart just by looking at them wrong. Here's a 2000 Trevor. Trevor is another one that I never really liked as a kid, and I think it's because they made his wheels black. Why did they do that instead of making them red? Red would be a lot more eye-catching. Ah, there we go. Here is probably the last ever wooden railway item I bought in a store. The 2017 Trevor. I could be wrong, but I think Trevor was in that final ever wave of new items before the line rebranded into Thomas Wood. A solid one to end things on. Here's somehow the only version of Herald I own, the 2013 Herald. There's been a lot of Heralds in Wooden Railway, but if there was one I could seek out, it'd be the updated Herald with the working cargo magnet from 2008 or so. Is this version hard to find? You all tell me in the comments. Here's George the Steamroller, someone I'm surprised took them so long to do. George's face kills me. Why is he so happy? And why are his pupils so giant? Here's Bulstrode, a giant piece of wood that you could easily use to break someone's skull. But like, don't. He came from the 2002 Down by the Dock set. I have two Lorry 1s, and both are complete with a flatbed and cargo. The first one I got by itself, and the second one came from that same Down by the Dock set. But the set version didn't come with a flatbed. So where did that come from? I'm pretty sure it came from the Sodor Airfield set, but I'll pair it with Lorry here for complete's sakes. Never managed to get Lorry 2 or 3, and considering how much they go for nowadays, I don't think I ever will. Here's a 2001 Butch. It's an alright item, but I'd much rather seek out the 2011 version based on his CGI design. That looks way better than this one. Here is Tiger Moth's biplane from that Sodor Airfield set. It's a pretty nice representation of the biplane. I was always really happy with this. Here is Elizabeth. I find it funny that she has a mad face instead of a happy one or something. And that's probably because, like Harvey and Salty, her toy was based on her concept art, where she has a mad face. Here is Jack, the front loader. Now, considering how big of a fan I am of the pack, I really hate the Wooden Railway Jack. It's just so bulky, and I hate how his bucket was designed. I get why it's designed the way it is, so it can be compatible with magnet cargo, but I just wish it was open. It would look so much better. Here's Alfie. Alfie is better than Jack, but I have the same gripes with his bucket too. At least Alfie has the ability to spin around, so that's pretty neat. Here is Oliver the Excavator, which came in that 2-pack with the engine Oliver. I love that 2-pack was a thing. It's such a good gimmick. Not a big fan of this Oliver though. I hate that his wheels don't have treads. How much better would this be if they gave him Terrence-style treads instead? Here is Byron the Bulldozer, and man, this is such a good toy. It's bulky, the face is large, it has the detailed Thumper-esque treads. Really happy with this thing. So back on my latest pack kick, I decided to seek out as many toys of the pack characters that I could. Kelly was one of the hardest ones to find, and oh my gosh, I'm so happy I have him now. This is another one of the best Wooden Railway items in my opinion. It's so detailed, and I love how his magnet actually looks like a hook. The pack items from the short-lived Tomy era were truly something else. Here's Nelson from that same wave as Kelly. His wheel centers are picked out in red, his dumper works, oh, he's so nice. And here's the big man himself, Patrick. Again, a goated item. I love the painted wheels, everything. Tomy really did produce some awesome Wooden Railway toys. Oh my gosh, I own this? Why? This is the 2009 Kevin, and it just sucks. I get that Kevin's design is kinda hard to translate into the Wooden Railway aesthetic, but come on, this looks nothing like the character. Oh, there we go, so much better. This is the 2013 Kevin, and this came from the James Sorts It Out set. My only qualm with this is that I wish the wheel centers were painted yellow, like they were on the prototype image. It would be perfect if they were. And our final character here is Skiff. I quite like how they accomplish Skiff. His mask can be folded down so he can fit through tunnels and whatnot. I also love that he can spin, just like how he does in the show. And this isn't really a character, but our final non-rail item is the Sodor Tugboat. This was one of those things that was produced for the Thomas line that has nothing to do with Thomas. It could just be a generic tugboat toy. I love it though, it's so simple and cute. I got this from the Day at the Work set, which really became a catch-all for all the discontinued items at the time. That was like the only way to get the tugboat, the watermill, an old-style Coldy, etc. for years. I do have a handful of items that I've kept unopened over the years. Items that I felt were special and deserved to stay mint. First up is the 60th Anniversary Henry, which is based on the last illustration of the 3 railway engines, where Henry gets painted blue. As I mentioned earlier, I found this and old slow coach at a toy shop in the mid-2010s. This is such a cool item, and I love Henry's face on this. I wish the regular Henry had that face. Here's a standard 2002 Thomas. Nothing all that special about it, and the plastic has started to yellow unfortunately. Here's a 2005 D199 unopened. I've been so tempted to open this thing, but to me it's such a fun item that I'd rather just keep sealed. I do have the 2013 one to keep me satisfied. I have a 2012 Thomas new in the box, for some reason. I don't know why I have this. And here are 5 items I am so glad I bought duplicates of. The 2012 Skarloey, the 2012 Rheneas, the 2012 Sir Handel, the 2012 Peter Sam, and the 2012 Rusty. I said earlier that these are probably my favorite things Wooden Railway has ever produced, and when they came out, I bought 2 of each. One set to open and get dinged up, and one set to keep pristine. And the last item of the day is the Thomas and the Magic Railroad movie car, still in its plastic bag. This was a special promotional item released in Canada for the movie, and I think it was a mail-away item or something. I'm not really sure what the history of this is. I got this from Rob, aka Wooden Railway Reviews, who very kindly got me this. Thank you so much, Rob. Thomas Wooden Railway is a fun toy line with crazy collectability. There's no doubt about that. I don't really desire to build up my collection to a point where I have every variant of every character ever or anything, but I would love to pick up some of the notable ones that I'm missing. Particularly face variants. I'm a sucker for those. Especially the Surprise Spencer from the Edward the Great set. That's probably number 1 for me right now. Big City Engine is also pretty high up on my list of desires. So tell me, what is your favorite Wooden Railway item? What's the rarest item that you own? And what is your white whale of this toy line? Tell me more in the comments below. This pick of the week is going to Thomas Theorist's retrospective of Jim Henson's construction site. As a big Jack in the Pack fan, this was an awesome video. I always knew of Construction Site, but I never watched much of it. This review made me interested in it, and I actually learned a lot from the production history portion. A lot of this show's crew went on to work on Thomas, and I never knew Hit Entertainment was created by Jim Henson. If you like big, impressive construction vehicle props, consider giving this a watch and checking the show out for yourself. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my little deep dive into Thomas Wooden Railway. Speaking of Thomas merchandise, have you all heard the news? The absolute crazy list of names that were revealed for the new diecast line. Not only are we getting ones that we've anticipated like Edward, Ben, and more narrow gauge engines, we got drops including Terrence, Victor, Timothy, Hector, and the biggest surprise of all, Stepney. That absolutely took my breath away. I wouldn't have believed it if they didn't show the Walmart listing. I'm assuming this means all these characters will be appearing in the new show at some point, but I guess we will have to just wait and see about that. I have the whole first wave of the new diecasts, and I have to say, they're pretty nice for what they are. Not all of them are winners, but overall, I'm pretty excited about this new line. I may make a video on these at some point, though I feel like everyone has, so I don't really know what I would be adding to the conversation there. But we'll see. I can only hope that this new show lives up to the hype whenever it comes out. On an unrelated note, I plan to start work on the Season 17 retrospective soon. I can't promise it'll be the next video on the channel. I may squeeze something shorter before it, depending on my schedule. But it is coming. I have seen all your comments asking for it. I know you all have been anticipating it. It's on the way. As far as our house situation goes,
We're all moved in now. You all actually caught a glimpse of it in this video. We have some house repairs that we need to see to first before I can start thinking about a big permanent layout. But again, it is on the way. Trust me, I am just as antsy to get started on it as you all are to see it. Patience is a virtue. That's all from me, folks. Lots of fun stuff on the way. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.